Heartbreak sometimes can change your world view, especially your view of relationships in general.
Yeah.
Which, so also again, still the same example I was giving of, I dated this guy and it was a situationship, and I learned that people who tell you, I don't want to be in a relationship, the with you is silent. He just didn't want to be in a relationship with
my
me.
goodness.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome to our channel.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Over 25! I feel like I sounded like Oprah there. You get a car. Everybody get a car. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Over 25. As per usual, if it's your first time here, we always remind you to subscribe to our channel over here and hit the notification bell so that every time we upload a new episode, you get a little ping in your notification bar. Also, if you like this conversation that we're about to have, remember to leave a comment and give us a thumbs up, as well as share. As you can see, today we are joined by a guest. Even our sitting Mimi is different. You know? We're like, Dr. Vundi has come, we must change things up. You know? For those of you who don't already know her, this is Dr. Vundi. She is, well, Vundi, actually, I need you to clarify, because I know you're a psychiatrist, but for the years I've known you, you did 5 years of med, so you're also a GP, like a medical doctor. But then I think you told me something about a residency in psychiatrics. So maybe you can
Let me
clarify.
break it down.
Because I don't want to mess up. You know, doctors are really sensitive about their titles.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So a psychiatrist has to be a medical doctor. You have to be a doctor first before you can be a psychiatrist. And that's because we have the power to diagnose and treat mental conditions. And in Kenya specifically, we're the only ones who can prescribe. So psychologists, what we call therapists or counselors, they can do the talk therapy, but they can't really prescribe. But psychiatrists nowadays, like the young psychiatrists, we are also doing a bit of the therapy, because for me, I don't like just seeing you and then I tell you, you know, here is an antidepressant, bye, see you next month. So we are also kind of merging the two professions together. So in summary, I am a psychiatrist, but I also do some therapy.
Actually, as a matter of fact, you told me some years ago, like, remember when I told you I'm struggling mentally, and she couldn't be my doctor because this is a high school friend. I've known her since many years ago. And she was like, and I wanted to go see a psychiatrist, and you were like, maybe go see
this other one.
Because she was like, based on us talking, she was saying she thinks I need more talk therapy and whatever. And maybe actually where I went, I told you guys I was given meds. Anyway, also for newbies here, I think it's also good to introduce ourselves, because sometimes people call me Shiki. I ain't Shiki. To my father's right, we have Shiki, aka Miss Tiramisu.
Hi, please.
That's her name on Instagram and all other social media handles. We have Lona Gatabaki, formerly Lonzi Mushemi. So she got that ring, she got that thing.
Lonzi though.
Still Lonzi. But Lonzi Gatabaki now. Dr. Vundi, she also has a YouTube channel where she talks about mental health.
Yes, and a podcast now.
Yeah,
thank you.
The name of her page, the name of her podcast and her YouTube channel is The Wellness Doctor. So you see, she's full rounded. And then we have Just Ivy, Mrs. Money Monday in the house. Looking like a bag of money. That's what's up. Last but not least, my name is Jules, aka Jules_her, or my tiny little channel on YouTube. So today's conversation is about heartbreak, relationships and heartbreak. And we've actually had a conversation, I think on Over 25, like 3 years ago, now that I think about it, about heartbreak and dealing with breakups, right?
Yeah, we did.
But we did it from the perspective of us as women having gone through a breakup and how we've dealt with it individually. But what Dr. Vundi is gonna do today, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is give us like the science of heartbreak. What really happens to you mentally right?
Yeah.
And physiologically and emotionally.
Exactly.
When you go through a heartbreak, because it's also a physical experience. It's not just a get over it, go eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay? There is trauma that happens from heartbreak and separation.
And something else we'll talk about in this episode is how to cope, because we don't want to leave you guys hanging. Yeah, so
there you go. Yeah. So
nice.
what heartbreak is, what causes heartbreak, types of heartbreak, and how to cope after, and I guess how to deal.
Yeah.
Because actually some of the questions we get on over 25 are, how do I deal with heartbreak? And always ignore those messages. Because
Really?
there are too, because I feel like it depends on your, for me,
situation.
yeah, some people they go out and party for a full week
Yeah.
or weeks. Me, I'll sit at home and eat ice cream and cry over this guy and write 10 journals about everything I love about him.
Yeah.
So everyone has their own whatever. So I hope this one will be, I hope whatever you'll tell us will be, it can fit more than just the individual.
Exactly.
And then you take what you choose and then you customize it to your life.
That's exactly what
Like
it'll
for all
be.
types, like for all skin types, but for all human types.
Yeah, it's basically going to accommodate everyone because, as you've said, some people will do the rebound thing. Other people will be, I'm not dating for a year. So there's no right way to do it, but there are some things I can advise so that you don't get worse.
Yeah.
Too deep into yourself.
So I think to start us off, Dr. Vundi, you can tell us what heartbreak is on that kind of feeling, and what it does to you. I guess what it does to you and to your body and to your mental. This should be interesting.
So heartbreak, I don't need to define it, but of course it's the separation from a loved one, right? Especially in the context of a romantic relationship. So what it does is very interesting, and I want you to think of a situation where you've been with somebody. It's not about the time. So it's not that you've dated them for 1 year or 6 years. It's not about time. It's just about how much you love them. So the first thing I'd like to say is that you're not imagining it, right? Heartbreak actually does things to you physiologically. So there's one study that was done, and these guys got a bunch of people who are going through a heartbreak, and then they did MRI scans on them when they were looking at the picture of the person who broke their heart.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw this.
Do you know the brain activity was noted in the same areas of the brain where somebody who is going through withdrawal, like from cocaine or nicotine, that's the same brain that was firing, to use layman's language. So it's like literally your brain sees that, and it's like if you show somebody a cigarette who's trying to stop smoking. So you've broken up with this person, but your brain doesn't know that. To them, it still elicits that kind of response.
Love is a drug.
It's a thing, yeah. And another thing is that there is something called heartbreak syndrome. Like it's actually produces chest pain, shortness of breath. Do you ever feel like when you've broken up with someone, that pain?
Physical pain.
Actually,
It's like a medical condition. So we don't understand the how. Like I can't tell you it's because of this or this. But some scientists have proposed that it elicits that same fight or flight response of your nervous system. So it literally makes you feel
like your
on
heart
edge.
is breaking. There's some random, there's a time I asked, I think it was on Twitter, could have been even like 10 years ago, back in the day, I used to be like, why do you feel pain here when you're broken up with somebody? And then somebody responded and said, there's something like a vagus nerve.
Exactly.
Vagus or vagus?
There's a vagus nerve that runs just near the heart.
Actually, and that nerve is what? What happens to the nerve when you break up with somebody?
It's part of that sympathetic nervous system that produces that fight or flight response. So literally, you're not imagining it. That's the first thing I want to tell anyone who's going through a heartbreak or who's ever gone through it. Heartbreak also produces the same symptoms as the symptoms of depression in 40% of people. So that thing of you don't want to leave the bed, you're not sleeping, it really mimics depression. So exactly. But interestingly, there are people who don't go through all these things I'm mentioning, the chest pain, there are people who just go numb. That's also problematic. That's also a sign that you're not processing the heartbreak well. So becoming numb and just getting to the point where I'm like reckless, I don't want to meet up with anyone or talk to anyone, that's also a sign of heartbreak. So this basically is the heartbreak
hotel.
Yeah. Everything I've described is like the physical, the psychological and mental symptoms of heartbreak. And they're real. They're real.
Okay, so I know we've talked about maybe like the types of. First of all, can I just ask a question? Because I want us to talk about the types of heartbreak.
Yeah.
But then, guys, if you have questions, please ask.
Chime
Like
in.
the types of heartbreak, the things that can make you get into that space. But is there also this? I feel like, okay, is there a relationship trauma?
Yes, there
Does
is.
it exist?
It
Because
does.
I think yeah, like trauma, like you're like like you, I don't know.
Yeah. So
Somebody does something and it's like you remember every other person that did this, and you're like, nah, even and like I don't want to date you because you've done something that is the
That you
same
remember.
as people who've hurt me in the past. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna go. Somebody who's nice, maybe they've turned the key in the car. I don't like it.
You're like Z.
And you have trauma.
oh, I get what you're asking me. So like, if you've gone through something, it can make trigger
Like a
something
trigger,
in you.
yeah.
So that if you see it again, you're
Yeah.
like,
Let me give an example. There's this guy I used to date. I remember he said he doesn't like eggs. And I thought that's the first time I'd ever heard that. I'm like, who doesn't eat eggs? And they're not allergic.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't like the texture. I was like, let me make for you. And I said, Kitambo. Of course, now I've learned to respect people that I don't like this.
yeah.
So I remember after we broke up, I was like, if someone doesn't like eggs, they're not a good guy. I know it's stupid, but imagine that's
There's no
the
correlation.
24-year-old was telling
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And there's another person who I started dating who didn't like eggs, and I was just like,
No.
people don't like eggs have a problem. Like it's a sign from God.
Yeah.
It's some trauma around
Yeah.
that.
It's that internalized thing where it's a bad way to learn the lesson. So you've learned the lesson that person hurt you and you don't want to be with them, but now you're carrying everything else he was as the lesson. It's the way some people do this thing where, let's say you date a younger guy, right? And it doesn't end well.
Yeah.
Then you say, I'll never date a younger guy. That's valid because that part burnt you. But then now you start saying, also he was light skinned, so I'll never look at a light skinned guy.
Yeah.
And in psychology, that thing is called generalization. You just make a conclusion out of one thing and you run with it.
Okay.
Yeah. But you've spoken about an ex, and for me, I have something very similar to what you are saying. I had a situation where, and this is bringing me to the point of what
Trigger.
Yeah, triggers. I was in a situationship for a very long time, and that's my worst heartbreak.
Okay.
And it's not that I even loved the guy so much because it's a situationship. Like he didn't give me much. We never had dates and stuff. But to this day, I get very, very triggered when somebody says something like, I don't want to seem judgy, but if somebody says like, I don't believe in marriage, it's a trigger, and I'm like, I can't date you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I learned from before, I'm not going to wait to convince you to change your mind.
Okay.
And for me, it used to be such a trigger. Or somebody who says, I'm not ready for a relationship. Me, that one I used to be like, okay, no, I'm not waiting around. So I guess it's a trigger, but it's also a lesson learned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But calling it a trigger might be, I don't want to say triggers are negative, but it might be turning something very positive into something negative, because at the end of the day, if you do want to get married and someone says, I don't believe in marriage, why call it a, or is the trigger the response? I'm trying to,
It's a lesson. It's more of a lesson than a trigger. I think everything else now about the person, let's say if they are tall, then now if tall men start triggering you, that's more of the trigger.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does heartbreak do to you?
Yeah. As we've said, heartbreak sometimes can change your world view, especially your view of relationships in general.
Yeah.
Which, so also again, still the same example I was giving of, I dated this guy and it was a situationship, and I learned that people who tell you, I don't want to be in a relationship, the with you is silent. He just didn't want to be in a relationship
Oh
with
my
me.
goodness.
Because immediately after we were done, he was
dating.
Okay.
They always do that. They're not ready, and then they're like, it's,
I don't
I'm
get
the problem,
married.
It's not you.
I
And
don't
then
get
2
married.
months later, they're dating somebody who
For
even
3
cheats
months
on
and
them
they're
and they
married.
still stay.
Oh, even they get
And you
married.
were
They get
there,
married.
cooking and cleaning, wiping the windows. I'm telling you, men are beasts.
Let me tell you that heartbreak, what I meant about
Sorry,
changing
it's fine, you.
it's okay. What I meant about changing your worldview is I quickly learned that believe what people tell you. Don't start making up things in your head, because in my head I thought one day he'll just wake up and decides he wants to date me, but this person is clearly telling you this one thing. So I started, that's what I was saying. When somebody tells me that I don't want to be married, I'd just be like, okay, then you're not for me. Or I don't want kids. That's an important thing for me. I'd just be like, no.
And
so
we've been told that, sorry to interrupt. We've been told that on set by the boys that we usually bring. Like, listen when you're told.
Yeah.
Or take non-verbal cues.
Communication, there's verbal and
non-verbal. That us, sometimes as ladies, we just close our eyes to those non-verbal things. And you've been told, so...
And another, exactly.
yourself from the situation.
You don't have to be told.
But he's there putting your clothes in the corner of the house,
Right?
hiding them.
Yeah.
So you're in love, so you don't see these things. Or your brain
There's a
tells
pazia.
you don't see. Yeah, like your brain chooses to let you not see.
Can I challenge you? Can I challenge you about that point, because it's part of our one of my coping mechanisms? Is it that you're so in love you don't see, or you see but you're in love and you're like, I'll let it slide?
Yes, I think it's the second one.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Because
okay,
sometimes
okay,
there are
okay.
people who, okay, I'll give you a situation. Maybe there are people you dated before and you didn't love them that much, and they did far less, and you were like,
Yes,
"Done,
and
it's
you're like,
over."
I'm done.
Whoa,
Okay,
you get.
okay.
But now somebody like you know what they're
that is
doing.
so
You know, you're very aware, but you've decided it's a very unconscious decision that I'll let you do this to me.
let it slide,
Like I kind of feel like you're cheating on me, but you know I'll accept this, or
Yeah.
you know. So it will come in our coping mechanisms, in that thing of red flags, because a big part of heartbreak is sometimes you get mad at yourself, like, why didn't I see? You know, that narrative is not healthy, but we'll talk
And I
about
think that's
it.
why this thing we're calling triggers, and that's, for me, that's what it is. It's like, that was, I don't even know if it's a trigger or it was me trying to protect myself. I'm like, I was looking for patterns, because I'm like, I can't keep having the same problem with every person I date. So I'm like, okay, eggs, person who drinks any other day earlier than Friday. You know, so I'm just like looking for patterns so that I can learn my fucking lesson. And sometimes it's not even conscious, man.
It's very unconscious.
Yeah.
It's very unconscious.
Yeah.
So so we're talking about the different types of heartbreaks.
Heartbreak.
We mentioned situationships, but there is another kind of heartbreak that I wanted us to kind of talk about, and that's the heartbreak when you're still with someone. You know, I think we always think a heartbreak means the end of a relationship.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can be with somebody and they break your heart. And that's usually very challenging. I have a few points on how to cope in that situation. The first one is controversial. Please tell me what you guys think.
Okay.
I think if you've been heartbroken within your relationship and you've chosen to stay, don't announce it to the world.
Don't announce the relationship or the heartbreak.
The heartbreak or the way that the person hurt you. Specifically, if you're married, telling your like family, your immediate family. So like for me telling my side of the family,
Yeah.
or even his side of the family, I don't think it's healthy.
I feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
So for example, like
even me, I
if he
wouldn't
cheats on you but you decide to stay, don't
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so controversial. Actually, this is a personal opinion. It's not a professional opinion.
Okay.
Do you know what I think? Especially if you're going to stay with the guy, you've just put a nini in your relationship for people to criticize you and judge you, and it's really not healthy.
Yeah.
Because these people are still like his in-laws. Or if we are friends, let's say I'm dating someone, we are all friends, and I come and tell you, he did ABCD. And then next week, we are still at the club together, all of us. You know, it just creates such a weird tension.
Yeah.
So I think the first conversation you need to have with yourself is, am I staying with this person? If you're staying, then don't tell your shared community.
You know what, Dr. Vundi?
I can see
challenge
how.
it.
Yeah, challenge
It's
me.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. Of course, that is so beautiful on paper.
yes.
And very mature.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
when that thing is happening to you, these are the people I go to. And at that time, I'm done, my friend.
Yeah.
It's over.
Okay.
You understand? Or I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm leaving. I'm just like, can you imagine this person did this?
Yeah.
This is what happened. There are some things I don't know how to comb through. I have even, my volume, I'm sorry. There's some things I don't know how to, I'm like,
goodness.
triggered.
Whoa.
There are some things I don't know how to cope
Yeah.
without
By yourself.
by myself. Like for real, I will really spiral. And me, my disposition to depression is chap. Like since core 26, I don't know what happened to my brain cells. Like there are things that really. So if I don't have my mom, I don't have my friends to just be like, yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I can't say it now because I'm staying. Ooh.
Okay, I
see
think
that too.
I see your point of view because you might start to decline. Can we then pick and choose who we tell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one person.
Yeah, or even just having a therapist because like sometimes
Okay.
also you put your friends in a weird situation because they're like now
It's
like,
true.
you get what I mean? So I'm saying
Because you end up like, as a
awkward.
friend, like
Yeah.
it's happened to all of us. Like you
Yes.
form an opinion about this person.
Yeah.
And then you're not there when they make up. And then the
Yeah.
next time you're hanging out, they're there.
It's kind of like, and yesterday we were saying, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
it makes your friends also feel compromised.
Yeah.
But then, so pick who you tell. I recommend a professional, or pick and choose what you tell them. Like, especially some things, you know, like especially sexual details, or some very some things that make the person feel very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because like, at the end of the day, he's also a person and he has his own agency. I don't know. This, as I said, it's a discussion.
And I can understand why it's controversial because you see at the end of the day, when you're talking to your friends, you want to make that person look the worst.
Yes, you need them on your side.
On your side, and also you're trying to show to validate the pain.
Yes,
And you say, in fact, so there are things you probably should not say.
Yeah.
Keep them secret, but you end up just going like, imagine this what happened.
And to validate
and
your
friend-
feelings. Also to validate,
To validate your feelings.
your
And
own
your friend will
feelings.
say, so are you going to leave? And you're like, I don't think I'm ready to leave.
Yeah, thank you. Also make it clear if you're going to stay.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say about this thing of who you tell. Please, you know, as you said about patterns, if you're so used to telling people your stuff, in a situation where kids are involved, you will find yourself, you'll now even be telling your kids.
Oh, some people do that.
You get.
Yeah.
It stems from way back. You used to tell your friends, then now you used to tell your mom. It becomes who you are. That's what I'm saying.
And even in fact, you are show this to me. And you're talking about the show.
From
they are
this
show,
side.
but it's the mother of your husband.
Exactly. To them, that she's still show.
She's
So
still,
it can create such a cut.
Yes,
You
I've seen
can't take it
relatives
back.
who do that, and I'm just like, you know, those are still our people.
You're like,
no?
wait.
I guess what I'm saying is when you're saying it, just know you can't take it back. So be sure about what you're saying. You can't take it back. It's a heavy burden because you're feeling the pain, but you know, just be aware.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, as you can see, we have changed kidogo. Mazingira imebadilika. It's because it has started raining and we are kind of an indoor-outdoor set. So we had to move indoors. That's why we're looking a little bit cozier and darker. Just bear with us. As long as you can see us and hear us, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Dr. Vundi, I had something to say. Dr. Vundi, earlier she was saying she was cautioning, like throwing caution to the wind around oversharing when it comes to your relationship. And she said if you can talk to someone, you know, maybe even talk to a therapist or something. I was also saying the maturity of your friends really plays also a very big role in how they respond to what it is that you share. So there's two types of people, speaking from experience. So there's the type of people who might say, fuck boy, leave me. And then there's also the type of person who say, I understand you're going through something emotional now, and if he's going to stay, I will still support you. So I'm also speaking to the friends who are friends of oversharers. I'm an oversharer. We also like to share. We're sharers. We share with each other. So it's also just be also a little bit mature and emotionally intelligent enough to just be like, okay, especially if it's a pattern. It's a repetitive thing where this person keeps coming with the problem. It's, you just say it's fine. You share with me. It's okay. I won't take it anywhere. But if you go back, I also will not judge you and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to add.
I agree. And also, like, in addition to that, your friends need to be mature enough not to confront your guy on your behalf. Because what tends to happen sometimes is I tell you that yesterday I caught my man cheating and I vented to you and that ends there. But then tomorrow you find him, you meet him in Mercury and you're like, why are you cheating on my girl? You know? So you've broken the trust. You broke why have you broken the trust? Because now you're putting your friend on blast. You get. So like also respect your friend enough to keep it. Even if your friend, let's say you're in a friend group, which you guys are in. If I come tell you, it doesn't give you now agency to now tell Chico. You get.
Oh no. Unless. But sometimes we do that. Because we are in a friend group. And sometimes you can't tell the story 5-10 times. So me, I can tell Julie and tell her, you know what?
Just
you
tell
can tell Shikio the rest. Like I'm okay with that. Like I'm okay with that.
But to me, I'd appreciate if I tell you. But I think we've understood.
No, that's what we know.
But that's something that came with time. Like if I tell you something personal, I don't want you to come and say, babe, are you okay?
Yeah.
No. At our big age. I think
Now
we-
you can't do such. You can't do such
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
Hey, there's some things you just say, watch her, she tells you.
Yeah.
Watch her,
Or-
Evie tells you.
Or if it comes up that, oh, Jules is having a bad week.
Yeah.
But you don't go into the details. You'll just say, maybe check on her.
Yes,
That
yes,
kind of thing.
But also, I'm very clear. If I say something and I don't want it to go elsewhere, I still say to date, even at my
Yeah.
big age, please don't tell anybody
Yes,
else.
yes.
Let's not assume that people,
Yeah.
please do not give this information to anybody else. That way when you do,
Yeah. Yeah, like, mother.
And it's easier to track where it came from.
exactly. I'm like, where? You are the weak link.
Listen, Vundi, basically I think what we are saying is
Yeah.
we need a group friend therapist. I don't know if you're offering such services.
I'll research.
Yeah,
I'll see if
actually,
it's
there's a time we
something
were
I do.
saying we had said we need to go
Yes.
for therapy as a group.
As a group.
Because we work together and then
Then we
we
friend
hang out
together.
and then we friends together. And then sometimes, somebody will talk to me in a work tone and I say, hey,
Yeah.
excuse me, are we friends? Or, it's like, it's nothing personal, my nigga.
Yeah.
Pull your weight.
Yeah.
It's business. Yeah, so sometimes those lines mix. Anyway, back to heartbreak.
Yeah, I have something that I wanted to ask Dr. Vundi.
Yeah.
On heartbreak within relationships. I just wanted you to give us some examples of heartbreak within a relationship. Because maybe people's hearts are being broken and they can't recognize it.
Right.
Yeah. So what are some situations
Like they think it comes with.
yeah, it's actually this is marriage. You
Yeah.
know, when people and that
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Strong
you have to be
black woman.
strong.
The
Yeah,
million
don't
dollar.
go home
Yeah.
to your street parents. So what are some of the heartbreaks that you'd say?
So I'd classify them into two. So it can be one major event.
Okay.
For example, cheating. It's the one that comes, quickly to my mind.
Yeah.
Or it can be small little microaggressions.
Yes.
I hate to use a buzzword. So it can be small little things. So let me go back to the big ones. Big ones are very easy to detect.
Yeah.
It can be somebody getting you into massive debt. You get auctioned, you lose your home. Like that's a big event. But the small ones could be things like, say for example, in a married situation, his mother-in-law kind of says something to you that's offensive and he doesn't stand up for you. That's something you can let slide. And I don't mean something very big, like if she asks you, "Ay, na hiyo nywele inakaaje?" Then we laugh and we move on. But it's hurt you.
Yeah.
And then you go home and it's kind of like, but that's my mom. Like why do you so that's it's not enough to end the marriage. We agree with that. But if it happens often, and then now his sisters are also saying, and then so it becomes a culture where these people can say anything to you and he doesn't stand up for you. So you take it, but it umas, with time it feels like it's a small heartbreak, but builds with time. So I would say verbal abuse is one of the commonest ones in marriage. Verbal abuse. The other one is financial. Like financially, men can. I'm so sorry to lean on the woman's example, but it's one that comes easier. When the man is earning more than you, sometimes he can just do small things. For example, he knows he's supposed to maybe send you money every month to go do your hair, but then he intentionally withholds. And then now you're in the position where you're like, are you sending that money? Then he's like, that kind of putting you down by not
Power play.
that power. Yeah. So that's also a form of heartbreak where he kind of just like puts you down.
Yeah. I have another example.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on.
Like, substance abuse, addictions, alcoholism. You're with a partner who is a good partner, present, financially providing, but he's not there because maybe he drinks too much or he doesn't spend time with you. Him, his work, business, friends, and then you're his house girl and his baby machine. And to fulfill his dream of being being this person in society who is married, has a home, has a wife, has kids, and can provide.
Yeah.
Yes, but you're not providing the emotional needs to your partner in the relationship. And I think that's a lot of what I've seen with that other generation, you know, where women are suffering quietly, but for decades and decades. And you wonder why all these women are always so angry, and you know, those aunties who are just always so mad all the time, and it's just like, man, you are not happy.
Why are you mad though?
But they can't leave.
You've actually made me think of another kind of heartbreak, and it has to do with kids. So it's in two ways. It could be like an absent parent, you know, that breaks your heart as the other parent. Like, it could be absenteeism, or if somebody is not a very good parent. Like, let's say somebody who's like very harsh on the kids, or that breaks your heart, you know.
And you have to compensate for that person's behavior.
So those are just a few examples. You have to parent twice.
So Dr. Vundi, because I thought heartbreak is the one, as you said, causes that thing with the, what did you call it? Yeah.
Broken heart syndrome.
Exactly, that broken heart. But are you also describing hurt, H-U-R-T? I thought heartbreak is
falling apart.
Shattered. Break, not a crack that now can lead to. Did you get?
So I feel like, yes, heartbreak is that one big one where your heart breaks, but there is a journey to heartbreak. Like, you don't wake up one day and your heart is in shambles. So in the same way, I think when you're single, it starts with the relationship has cracks, and we'll talk about the cracks in the relationship. But even in marriage, the cracks still hurt. You know, by the time it's forming a crack, there's some pain.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, so maybe it's not as big as the one of like divorce, but there's a crack, and you feel it. You know, so I guess it's varying intensity.
So intensity.
And also, I guess it varies with the individual, because there are some people who don't mind having an absentee partner because they really don't give a fuck. Then they just want to have the thing and the society thing of a marriage taken care of, and they find their happiness elsewhere. But there's somebody like me who is like, no, I don't feel like I'm in a partnership, and my emotional needs are not being met. So my heart is breaking in this relationship as I'm in it, and I don't have evidence to say I'm leaving. Has he beaten you? Has he done this? You know?
That's true, because there's some women, for example, or men who cheating is not even a deal breaker. But I tend to think that you'll still feel something, even if for you, like, cheating is not the thing that makes you like leave. It still hurts. But it boils down to the unmet need. I think heartbreaks comes from an unmet need. Maybe you needed this person to commit or to pick you, and they didn't. You needed this person to do certain things, and they didn't.
An unmet need.
An unmet need.
So shall we move now to the coping?
Yeah, we should.
Coping, how to cope with heartbreak. Will this thing cure us? This coping? It's just coping. We are managing. We are coping. We have to get out of the water, man, and sit on the beach. I'm tired of coping, man. We are constantly coping. Life is just always, there's always adulting.
What I'm prescribing is not an instant, instant coffee. It's not. It's, think of it like a slow brewed or slow cooking process of healing from heartbreak. And it's applicable to anyone, regardless of what your process is. Because as we said, there are people who rebounds are their thing. I had a friend who could not, like, for her, when she breaks up, she needed someone else to be there. And it worked for her, by the way. It really worked for her. For others, they want to stay alone. So what I'm prescribing will apply for you, whatever your mode of operation is. So I've written them down, and my first point is, don't look for an explanation. This is one of the things that most people do when you break up. You want the person to explain, why did you cheat on me? Why did you do that one thing? Or why were you not, And that's the thing people seek when they're like, I want closure, or let's meet for closure. You want like a certain explanation to justify what you're feeling. But I'm so sorry to tell you that there's nothing that they will say that will make sense of the pain you're feeling. It won't, there's no reason that'll be like, oh, okay, makes sense for you. So it's really an exercise in futility. What I would say is, I feel like people already know the answer. You already know the explanation. And it takes me back to the point of the cracks. Some people will talk about, I don't know why this ended, or I don't know how we ended up here. Imagine you do. Just think, if you were just to spend some time with yourself and think about it, you know what was wrong with that relationship. What do you guys think I'm saying? It might be a bit accusatory.
No, it's true. We always know. We always know.
Exactly.
At the back of your mind.
Yeah. So are you saying, are you also saying that, let's say, if you break up, like don't look for closure, like don't go for closure, basically?
Yeah.
It has ended.
Yeah. Controversial, but I think it's a waste of time because there's really, why are you giving this person the power to give you now the answer
For you
to
to
help you
heal.
understand? You know, just try and understand it for yourself, and whatever those cracks were in a relationship, that's why it ended. There's no magical answer this other person will give you. You get, because it's like you go into this mental gymnastics of analyzing every single thing in the relationship, trying to see. Yeah.
But I do have to say this because I used to be very much against closure because of the experiences I had with let's talk to have closure. I don't think it works, especially if you're the one who is hurt.
Yeah.
You're the hurty and they are the hurter. Or they are the aggressor, you are the aggressive, whatever you want to call it. Like if you go there, the person who's seeking the answers, you might get something, but nothing will balm you. Nothing will give you the full, like, you might be like, okay, but you still be hurt. You still have the loss. However, if later on the person who hurt you wants to come and talk to you, I think at that point I would be okay to hear what they have to say, rather than me who has been hurt begging or seeking disclosure. If somebody who has hurt you wants to come and apologize and say, by the way, I fucked this shit up, man. I was gaslighting the shit out of you. I made you think you're crazy. I was in it, and at some point I wasn't, but I didn't have the balls to tell you I don't want to fuck with you anymore.
Okay.
If that person wants to come and tell you that, and you're at a place where you can receive it, I don't think there's a problem. My issue with closure is looking for this ex to talk. Because I even question, are you really wanting to meet for closure or to see them one last time?
Most times I think that's
Fuck
what
them
she-
one last time.
that's what usually that's what happens.
You're still in a very highly emotional
Emotional state.
Yes.
Even if it's not to meet and fuck, maybe you're just meeting to have coffee, but you're still in love with them. So you want to see them, you know. And I was like, girl, you just fix yourself. Go get your own closure by yourself.
You know
I
what?
think there's some hope also.
There's
as
some
you wait for the
hope.
closure.
Maybe there's something
It's
I
like
can
a
say.
small
Maybe if I wear this dress.
or if he says a certain thing, maybe we might find our way back to, where we
Do you remember when we were talking about the dopamine? Like when you're heartbroken, the same mechanism works as if the way it is for an addict. So you know the way an addict wants just that fix.
One more time.
Just one more fix. That's what you're doing when you're going for that hairband. Or when you're going for, you know,
So the viral
until I left, do a hairpin. You like imagine get another hairpin because it'll take you back. Like you'll get the high, you'll get that dopamine rush because it activates the same reward system. But what happens? You go back. You have to start again.
Amen.
You have to start again.
But are there exceptions to the rules where someone has hurt you and you've broken up and they come back while you're still in that emotional state and you're still able to fix it? Like maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the breakup was the mistake. Or are there exceptions to this rule?
Oh, that's a good
Or
question.
would that be me giving people hope and you know?
What's the before you answer? What's the fixing? Is the fixing getting back together or the
Fixing, of course, that issue and then still managing to get back together in that moment.
I think it boils down. Maybe I should have said, with all these coping mechanisms, ask yourself, do you want to get back with this person or not?
Yeah.
Ask yourself what you want.
What do you want?
Yeah, I think that is now usually the problem.
And be honest with yourself, because if you want this person back, you're allowed to just say you want this person back. So I think this now discussion is for people who now we want to move on.
So we're moving on. We're
we
like,
want
fuck
to
you.
move on.
I think the important thing is to be honest with yourself. As in, let me tell you, sometimes look, you think you're being honest. Let me tell you, your ego can really tell you, I know what I want. But you go and sit in that coffee, you're like, shit, I want them back. It's because you are not honest. You are cheating. You want them back.
You're lying to yourself. That's why that first few days is important for you to just be alone and sit with your feelings and think. Yeah, cry, do the other stuff, but also think, like, what do I actually want with this person? Because that's a very easy decision to make in those few days. So don't look for an explanation. The second one is going to be tough love, but please avoid the victim mindset, the victim mentality.
Okay.
When there's a breakup, and I heard Julia saying it, there's a hatter and a hattie. I think when a relationship fails, it's broken down. It's like a 50-50. There are things that one person did, and there are things you did or didn't do.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
I was the hattie.
Imagine, even if you're the hattie, say for example, it's like something very wrong, like you are wronged very blatantly. I always advise people to look inward. Is there a red flag you missed?
Or you weren't, ulikuwa umefunga macho.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you know, we're also told to not also be so picky.
So just look inward, and instead, if we love to point the finger, just ask yourself, me, what could I have done differently?
Easy.
And we love that narrative of now owning that identity of being the heartbroken one, especially in a friend group. You find yourself now, that's your conversation, that's your thing now. You are wearing this badge of honor. Like, can you just not enjoy, I hate to say this, but like, enjoy being the victim. Not enjoy, but like,
that's it. No,
you know what it
that's
is.
it. That's
Guys
what it
telling
is.
you Pole, and guys now, your friends are chiming in and telling you how they didn't even like him in the first place.
Yes, especially, and that happens especially if the person you are dating is also friends with these same friends. So you're not only are you trying to look for support, but this is a campaign.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be out here trying to chill with this homie.
Yeah.
Okay? When this nigga did this to me.
Yeah.
You understand?
You want to be the hearty, and it's now your thing.
Yeah,
For a couple of months.
yeah. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of emotional maturity to be like, you know what? I'm sitting here and I know Shiko is going to hang out with Jeff.
Yes.
And Jeff ain't shit nigga, but you see Jeff is also a family friend of you and even Simani and like that thing. It's a bit tough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
It's a tough one to swallow.
But it's a tough one, babe.
Once you've told people, because I think obviously you go through the stage of needing to talk about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep narrating
Yeah.
and
Okay. They're not telling the story all the time.
Can you be the victim for the first week?
be a victim for like a short while.
Yeah.
And then just introspect, look inward.
Okay.
All right, I can go to point number 3.
Yes.
See, okay, it's part 2B. Oh my God, I'm such a doctor. So part 2B is asking yourself, what do I need to fix about myself? Like, what can I learn? Do you have daddy issues? Do you have attachment issues? Like, what can I fix with myself? Because you can't fix the other person.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just, what
Fix
can I
yourself
learn?
and fix who you're attracted to. Because also those red flags, they are the same with all the exes.
Right?
Yeah.
Jeff,
Johnny, all of them. Same.
Why are you attracting the same person?
No, me don't even say attracting. I know that thing for attracting is true, but me sometimes I'm like, what are you attracted to?
Yeah.
They look different. They even present differently. But Uko, when you've removed the layers, it's like they have the same deficiency that every other ex has had.
You might even find out you're a codependent. So you always tend to attract people who need a codependent. So look, what is it about you that you can fix? And if there's nothing, that's fine as well. But just ask yourself that question. Now, the other point is don't idealize the relationship, because we tend to do that. Now you just think about all the good things. That time you went to Coast, all the, the good things. So that's a trap. Yes, the good stuff happened, but there's a reason you broke up. So I would say, whenever a good memory pops up, just think of what other bad thing that person did or what you get.
Like,
Remember that
don't think
feeling
about
when
the
you
good
broke up.
time.
Remember that anger.
I love
Remember
it.
that,
I love the feeling.
that feeling in that moment in time when they said shit or they whatever.
It's so easy to idealize the relationship when it's over. You forget how many times you cried, how many times you fought. Yeah. And this point is not to be confused with being the accuser again, being the victim. Now you don't want to go overboard and think about all the negative. It's kind of just finding a balance. Like when you find yourself daydreaming about
You took me to court,
Yeah.
but
I was crying.
So remember that feeling.
Also how we tend to go far with people we love. Like you've thought of marrying them or having kids with them. Like there's a lot of undoing, so you have to create a new kind of visualization. You get
Sometimes not even as far as marriage or whatever. Sometimes it's even you've broken up on a Monday and you had plans on Wednesday. And you're like, fucking shit.
Now I'm going to go with
Sasa, what is this?
you're messed up.
Sasa, what is it, you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to rework, but
Yeah.
that's very true. You
Yeah.
have to like create a new thing.
Don't spend money if you know you're about to break up.
But you might not know.
You don't know, babe.
You don't know it's happening.
You don't know. You know, breakups sometimes also doing.
I know.
I'm so And then when you sit
Then
in
tomorrow
yourself,
like shit.
Yeah.
But planning the trip.
Yeah, I have a
I
question
think
for you guys.
human relationships are so unfair. I mean, like when you look at a dog and a cat and even the penguins that stay together, it's like God made other creatures.
Yeah.
It's like they know what they're there to do. Procreate. Okay, you take care of this, me I bring the food. Humans, we need therapy. So are you attached? Are
we
you
have different
anxious?
attachment styles.
What is it?
But during the love, it's good.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. I wouldn't want to just be a
me
penguin.
now, I'm focusing on the negative of love.
Negative, please.
Me, I can't do those things.
I have a
So
question for you guys. Close to that point about like the way maybe you have a plan. Say you had like a big plan, like a trip. Would you still go?
With this person?
No, not with the person, like by yourself. You bought a
Somebody
ticket.
else. No, I mean not a somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe I go with Lonzi instead.
Okay.
And then we just go, we enjoy life. I guess.
Yeah.
Either that
I
or
think I would
or
also
try and
just
get a
go by
refund.
myself.
Or yes, or a refund. Me, I would be worried about going by myself
at the
because I'll just go
beach.
cry. by
Yeah, it's
myself.
okay, but you're at the beach.
Okay, I mean it's better than
And
crying
who
in the
knows who
house.
you'll meet there.
Oh, I might find somebody.
Anyway, just see how it did.
All right. So the next one is closure is something you find on your own. You don't need someone to help you find it. I think that one we already discussed.
Looking inward.
It's like you want someone to give you the closure. It's actually something you can find.
Okay.
The next one is don't wait for an apology. In fact, what I would advise is you apologize to yourself. So a lot of times you want the person
Sorry
to
for
say,
accepting that bullshit. I'm so lazy for accepting that motherfucker's bullshit.
I want to learn. You see these things of self-love. In fact, sometimes I'm like, okay, guys, what is this self-love? I understand it. I don't understand it. Because sometimes I'm like, am I in the self-love now?
Theoretically, you understand.
Yeah, but it's funny we're talking about this now because I had this feeling this morning. I don't know, I had this feeling of like, I want to love me enough to take care of me in this kind of relationships. And not only romantic, even with friends. You know, there are people who, they're not very good for you sometimes. And you're like, you know what you're getting out of it, but if it was another friend and you're giving, I don't know. Anyway, I want to learn how to love myself.
can I ask you a question?
Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm getting
and
you.
okay, so I know, how does that feel like? Does that feel like happy? Like, how do you, like, I know how I feel because I love Shiko. I worry about her. I care about her. I'm happy when she looks good. I'm like, oh my God, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Yay, but now how do you feel when you love yourself? That, because you see, loving yourself, what's the difference between loving yourself now too much ego?
Okay. So that question you've asked me, so many of my patients ask me, like, when will I ever get to the point where I love myself? Is it close to? So, and having been in this wellness space for a long time, we have us as the professionals and even content creators who do wellness, we have made wellness seem like a destination. Like when you reach the point where now you have the eucalyptus in the shower, where you drink chamomile tea, that's when now you love yourself. And that's something we need to really stop doing. It's not, when you reach there, that's not when you love yourself. I would like to ask you, if you look at yourself now and you compare with your 21-year-old self, are you seeing any growth in your self-love journey? Or are you still in the same place that
But
you
I
were?
don't know what self-love is.
Okay.
Like, I know what it is, but I can't say, at this point I didn't love myself, but at this point I love myself. I don't know what the attributes, the feeling, what does that mean?
I would ask you, do you know whether or not you don't love yourself? Like right now, if I asked you, do you not love yourself? What would your answer be?
Or like what does not loving myself look like?
Yes. Because that's the more important question. Because if you're not loving on yourself, you're able to
Actually,
do
I
something
don't
about
know.
it.
What does not loving? Does that mean if I go out on a Friday when I know I have work on a Saturday morning, that means I don't love myself? because I'm gonna be hungover the next day.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what does not loving yourself mean? Does that mean staying in a relationship that you know you shouldn't be in? Fine, that may not be loving yourself, but at the same time, you're like, you don't want to be alone, so you're in here. So that you still love yourself enough to stay because you know what you're getting from it, or you know, like what actually I don't know.
I think in a sense you've sort of
not loving yourself.
sort of answered it. If I were to, if a few, because how I would answer it is, loving myself as a whole also starts with specific aspects of me. Before I can say I love Ivy, I would have to break down little nuggets of Ivy. So I know, for example, times when I'm not loving myself is, remember here we talk a lot. We talk a lot about negative self-talk.
Yeah.
So on the day when I'm sitting down and I do something and I call myself, you're so stupid, I know that is an aspect of me not loving myself. But still, that same day I'd go look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, okay, that workout, you know. So I'm wondering if it's, as you said, it's a process, it's a journey. So I wonder if it's also broken down to the self itself is also broken into
down.
Before you become self. There's
Okay.
I wonder.
I feel like I'm getting an answer that I feel like I can give. It might not be a final awakening kind of an answer, but I would say that there are moments, so even in one day, there are moments when you can do something that is loving to yourself, and there are times you can be not so loving to yourself. So a good place to start is the relationship that you have with yourself and the person in your mind, the voice in your head. That is the, I was talking to my sister the other day and we were saying, you know, when you're old and you're bedridden and you're in your sunset days, you know, the only person you have is that voice in your head, the memories, the things you say to yourself. So what relationship do you have with yourself? That constant conversation you have during the day. What is it like? I think that's one way you can know.
My man is always rushing. We need to go. We need to get here. We need to.
And that's not bad. Maybe your inner voice is type A.
No, my inner voice needs to chill. In fact, today morning I was like, "You're always rushing to the next thing." You're like, I was like, "Okay, now I need to shower. Okay, now I need to do my makeup. Okay, then after the makeup, I need to make sure vundi is there on time. And then I need to go for this event. And now I'm thinking about going for the event. And then after the event, I'm like, oh my God, I need to pack my gym bag for tomorrow. Like I'm just rushing to do the next thing.
Can I tell you something? Learn to talk to that person.
How
I
now?
know people think I'm giving them
Hi.
Imagine talk back.
Like, I talk to my person in my head.
Like, you know, the way you're saying my inner person needs to chill. You tell them you need to chill. By the way, we've got this. Like, talk even verbally in your car.
That I get. Now explain to me what not loving yourself looks like.
So not loving yourself, I would break it down into 3 things: thoughts, feelings, behaviors. So that's usually actually one of the foundation of therapy. What are your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors? So what are your thoughts about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel worthless, for example, hopeless? So the feelings that you attach towards yourself. And then how do you act towards yourself? Acts of self-love. For example, do you just kind of, there's this babe on TikTok who's a plus size influencer, and she was telling plus size babes, can you stop poking and prodding at your body? You know the way we do this tumbo, like this nini. And she was saying those small habits you do to yourself, it's a form of kind of abuse, you know. And she was saying even you don't deserve to abuse yourself, or to do things like that to yourself. You get.
So what is an example of not loving your, like, behavior?
So behavior-wise, it can be those small things. How you even just occupy space. For example, if you don't even love yourself, you know, it can be seen in your posture, in the way you speak. It's like you're almost asking for permission to exist. You get. Yeah. And then the extreme end is things like, of course, self-harm. You get. So I think if you looked at it from that way, how you think, feel, and behave towards yourself, you can always kind of know where you are.
I think this is a whole other discussion.
I
still don't know. Yeah, because I'm like, there are times I think I can maybe not be good to myself. I've never, you know, that has not gotten there. Because it can happen in the same minute even. It's like, oh my God. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm so dope. You know, so I don't know what self-love is. Like, I get it. Like, okay, take care of yourself, make sure you meditate. Those are things. But I'm like, so what is loving yourself?
You just have to connect the things.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Maybe I will one day.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just trying to be sane and happy. So if that is what they're calling self-love, cool. But I don't get it. Like, I know what it feels to love you. Vundi love. What is Julia? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, babe.
Yeah.
I understand the thing of get your nails done, rest, hydrate. That's a form of self-care.
That's self-care, yeah.
But I don't know what that self-love means, to love yourself, because I already love myself. I don't want to get hit by a car, so I swerve this way. I don't want you to talk shit at me, so I talk shit before you talk shit at me. So I take care of myself. I already love myself.
Yeah.
But then it's like there's another self-love that is very...
No, that's what I was saying earlier about it being made to feel like this mythical, like self-love has been made to... I don't know if it's being commercialized or it has been made a product.
Has been commercialized.
But you could already maybe even be there. But now you're seeing other people doing it, for example, like on Instagram and TikTok, and you're like, hey, me, I've not reached there. You know. But then you actually...
with the routine.
Yeah.
With yoga.
Exactly. Like, can I tell you, like, even for me, a wellness person, like, I just started journaling the other day, and I've told you, I've never journaled. Yeah, and I've done therapy, like, just once. So it's not, there's no set way. It's literally your internal meter.
Okay.
It's not for me to come and tell you what self-love is.
I wonder if I love myself. I just want to know.
You're checking.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Journaling is nice.
It's
Yeah.
I said recently, and I remember the last one, the instructions in the journal was write yourself a love letter.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then they said, if you're not sure what to say, try and think of like a friend you love or someone you love, what you'd say to them, and then I'll turn up.
Oh, wow.
That morning, I was like, I'm so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'll take pictures of that journal.
Okay,
Every day it's a different thing. And it is helping me on my journey too.
Where did you get this?
Miles bought it for me.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to finish. I plug myself. I've made a journal.
Yes. By the way,
Yeah.
Dr. Vundi, you changed my life. Anyway, that I already talked about.
I'll support
I'll-
I don't have a journal.
No, I'll gift you guys because I wanted to. I just hadn't printed them, but I'll gift it to you guys. Don't worry.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Because you know, they say the best way to understand the world is to read. They say the best way to understand yourself is to write.
On that note, can I give the last point on how to
that
cope?
is for a t-shirt.
Wait, before we go to the last point, I think the second last point was apologize to yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And what if you
Apologize to yourself.
what if you use reverse psychology just to help you heal faster, and you go and tell like the guy or the chick or whatever, and you're like, I am so sorry you're so shitty, you know, like I'm so sorry you were such a bad boyfriend to me. I am so it's like you're apologizing to them for being like essentially you're apologizing for yourself. Like you get like
I get what
it's
you're
like
saying.
you're apologizing to yourself on their behalf.
I
So
don't know.
I feel like
sorry
that.
you were,
Yeah, I'm sorry you were such a bad boy. Like for example, I'm sorry you're such a bad boyfriend. I'm so sorry you cheated on me. I'm so sorry. You know, it's like you're apologizing on their behalf before they ever do, and then now you go and do yourself whatever. But I feel like that would really help me. No?
You know, heartbreak follows the same cycles as grief. There's the anger, there's the denial, there's all that. So it's okay if that's if you want to be angry, just be angry. But don't lie to yourself. You know very well saying a statement like that is just like to make them feel bad. You're not really that's not an apology. You just want them to feel bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But
what they've lost.
right, yeah, I'm so sorry you did this and
Sorry,
you lost me and
lost a hot lady.
best thing I never had. But
But
like
don't say badly, but say like in a anyway. I was just saying.
I don't know how that doesn't sound helpful. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah. Neither does it sound like you're being honest. Okay. You know?
Then you have to go find this ex to tell them this.
Unaweza tuma WhatsApp ama uandike kwa journal.
And that's a good one. Andika uchome hiyo karatasi.
Ivy, that's my last point. Like you're really killing it. There's this thing. This one is I got it from a friend of mine. She's called Lash. She does it might sound bad, but she does a burial for the relationship.
Do you have steps on breaking up?
Dude.
And then we do the burial?
Yeah.
We need
steps.
Okay, accept, sijui nini, and then
come agree.
and then
Come again.
What are the stages of
So I listened to a podcast that said it doesn't follow that pattern. I'll send you that
You
podcast.
can be bouncing
all over
from
the
anger
place.
to
But
you
think you're past the anger and then
you
go
go
back.
back.
And then
Yeah.
you're
And you can even get angry 10 years later. You see something in the
That's
supermarket
true.
and you're like,
okay, it doesn't end.
yeah.
But even then, what are they?
It's
'Cause I
anger,
think I only know,
denial, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. So you might be stuck in one for the longest. There are people who never accept. They're just in denial, for life. You can be denial, like it can go like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not linear, is what I was looking for. So this send-off and burial, basically she writes a letter a goodbye letter to the relationship, not to the person. Remember, if you think of the person, you will just go back to the anger. Just write a goodbye letter to the relationship, and then you can, okay, she burns it. I don't know if she burns or buries it, but have a formal thing to release. You know, like burials are not just ceremonial. It's literally a way for you to realize it's actually over.
Something clicks.
Yeah, something really clicks. So right,
Right from place, then you break down.
just have a.
Smash party.
I'd love to have a smash party.
Oh, that sounds like a
That
thing.
sounds
Maybe that's something we can do.
Yeah, have
Is
smash
there
parties.
another point
But
there
what
for
if that
drink
person-
yourself silly? To forget, like
And then also, what if they're friends with? No, that's the problem. You go and burn those letters, and then you see them in the next event because they are friends with your friend. So they're there sitting there.
You know what?
Nairobi.
Nairobi, they eat small.
Some of those points, like, should I block him? What if I see them again? You'll notice I didn't bring them up.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you have free will. If I come here and tell you guys, block your exes one day after you break up with them, it's not practical. I always say, just do what you feel like you need to do. But if you have those key principles, be honest, don't look for an apology. Like, it'll really guide you, because you can't also predict what you'll do when you see them. You know, some of these things, it's matters of the heart. I don't know how I'll feel if I see my ex even now. You
And
know,
even in addition to that, you don't know what you'll do when you see them, but you also don't know what you do when you don't see them for so long.
that's the thing.
You understand? That absence. You know, and then you're used to their presence in your life. Baka, you say, see, we just be friends with benefits. Me, I've done that because I'm like, I can't let go, and I don't feel like being alone. I don't feel like starting again. Hi, I like blue. My name is Julia. As in, I'm tired of dating, so I'm like, let me stick with the devil I know.
You know, that I can't imagine starting over. Like, I'm not,
Babe, me masasa mimi sebuse mimi. Sebuse mimi.
That's what I'm saying. All this, once you have the core
People who
values.
are married, let me tell you.
Free be lost.
Even me,
You people who are married. You people who are married. And then they come and tell us, you know, at a certain age, you just feel, I'm like, fuck you.
No. By the first two.
People who are like, you know, nowadays I'm just so chill. I'm like, you're chill because you have a baby and a husband.
But
you
tulipitia.
are in the same place as me.
Julia tulipitia.
People talk and they forget that you are who you are because of what the circumstance you're in.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't talk from this high place.
That's
because
true.
one day shit can happen. Some shit can happen to your partner, or the relationship breaks down, and then what? You're
That's
back
why-
here. So please don't look at us and say, hey, Bado,
No,
why are
no,
you
no.
picky? Are you too picky?
That's not
Are you
right.
stubborn? You know, I've been told that maybe you're
not
too
right.
stubborn.
That is
and
not
it's
right.
Like, you guys, like,
That's why I
sorry
say
guys, I was triggered for a moment.
it's okay.
I love myself.
Feel what you need to feel. Always feel what you need to feel. Don't deny your feelings. So if you're angry and you need to block or do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you at behave in a certain way, be a lady, don't cuss.
Yeah.
Do feel what you need to feel, but have these things on lock. Like, have a general understanding of what will take you backwards in terms of your healing journey. You get
That is it.
Yeah.
Have a general understanding of what
What will take you back?
backwards
Yeah.
in your healing
in your
journey.
healing journey. Some things will just take you back. We don't want those things. But other things, feel what you need to feel. Yeah.
And I think for me, one of the biggest takeouts from this is it starts with you being honest with yourself and saying, what do I want? Because you may have missed that entirely, and then you're there, and you don't even know that you're taking yourself back. Hey, that is what I've taken.
you're
That's
pretending
what I've
to want
taken
it.
right
I've
here.
just realized what I wanted was not, maybe it wasn't a relationship, it was just companionship. What about, is that part? Anyway,
Okay.
be honest,
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Then
I think
start
that's
the
biggest
journey.
one.
Yeah. Wait.
And I understand what
This
I understand
episode.
how it's for all skin types.
Yeah. You get it?
Yeah, how it can be applicable to any situation.
Exactly.
The coping mechanisms that is.
Yeah.
Hey, doctor.
So I have one final question, which is not so related but kind of related. I got this when I did my Ask Me Anything. I counted them. I had 8 questions. Of course, I got like a mini questions, but I had 8 questions. People asking me, Julia, you're single. How do you deal with loneliness? And I struggled to respond. I think maybe if you saw my stories, I responded and I said, this one, I even said, if I actually knew how to answer, if I had a solid response for this, and I was able to package it into something, I'd be so rich. Because I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that even inside relationships.
Yeah, but
They're like, you stay in a relationship because of fear of being alone.
Yeah.
Because you know what being alone feels like. Or you're alone and you're so lonely. Hadi, you're just like, you know what? As in, I don't agree with so many things this guy is doing. But let me just stay because I can't handle another month going through life being alone.
Oh my
And I think a lot of things that people keep put up with is because of fear of being alone. Because it's a real fear. And it's like you can't just get over the fear, because being alone is a pain. It can be a very solace. It can be freeing when you're being, I have 3 kids, I just want to you go do a getaway for even 2 weeks. But now when you're alone, you have nobody to talk to. When you're driving home, you have nobody to meet. When you get to the house, you have nobody to share your fears with, you have nobody to cuddle with, you have nobody to go for events with, weddings, parties, you know what I mean? And it's a constant reminder, and I struggle to give responses to those to that, because it's changing. There are days, there are things that don't upset you about being alone, but there are times the same thing upsets you. So there's no solution.
There's really, because you know, even self-love can't fix that thing. Self-love, you can't love yourself out of loneliness.
Right.
You can love yourself like 100%, but you're still lonely.
Right.
So the solution is not also now to be like, oh, you know, meditate. No. I think, remember what I said about unmet needs. Sometimes what you need, you're fighting it. So say, for example, even in the context of a heartbreak, you've broken up with someone, but you're telling yourself, I will never date again. But you're lonely, you know. Listen to your need. What do you need right now? If you just need to go on a date, imagine go on that date. If you need to just have sex with somebody because you missed that thing, go and have sex with somebody. So dealing with loneliness is not fighting it.
But what if you need a relationship and your relationship has broken down?
So start the journey of trying to get to a relationship. Again, feel what you feel. You're lonely. Yeah, I know.
Hi, my name is Julia. I like blue.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Because you know what happens, Julia?
I'm not done. Like I'm not done, obviously. But like I'm over it.
Do you know what happens, Julia?
I'm not starting again. Hi. So I'm just gonna, chill out.
But you know what people are doing? You're lonely. You want a relationship, but what are you doing? You're going back to your ex, who is going to give you nothing.
But you see, it's better, guys, because you know what's up.
But is it?
The devil you know.
Because
but
you know this person told you, I don't want a relationship. That's the same person you're going back to. You get? Or you're going back to the same toxic person. So that's what I was saying.
What
is your need?
The loneliness. Because if you go, you will now be lonely still in that. So the problem of loneliness, you're not actually.
You're not addressing it. But there's no one size fits all answer.
Loneliness can be addressed.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I really don't think it can be addressed. I think you just have to figure out what works for you in that time. Because today, going to do a mani pedi as you listen to a podcast can reduce it. But the next time it comes, it's so strong that will not do shit. You just need to sit at home and cry and figure your life out, or go out. But you see, those things, let me tell you, loneliness can make you make some bad decisions.
Just don't go backwards. I think my thing is do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Just don't go backwards, because you're now. Remember, you're not going away from your healing or away from that thing you want.
That's what I've done. I've done going backwards because it felt safe. It's not
for now. It's safe for now.
Yeah, it's not somebody who doesn't want to be in a relationship. It's just a relationship that's not functioning and working. It's not healthy. Good person, I'm a good person, but together we have too many problems that are antagonizing each other or whatever. So you're like, you know what? I don't want to be alone this weekend. It's nice to have somebody to cook for and so come. But then you end up in a fight on Sunday where you're like, anyway, at least you're not my person, so bye. Peace. I don't have to see you next week. I'm such a never. Yeah. As in you're looking, but you're still in that place that is a bit safer for you, because out there is the ghetto. It's the ghetto. So you end up just saying, you know what, wacha tunikaya hapa kidogo. But it's true, it's retrogressive. But it's safer. Than going on fresh dates. Actually, what do you do?
I can't even imagine it.
But Jules, don't you also, it's retrogressive, and also it's, I think, also stopping you from finding that next person.
It hasn't stopped so far.
Well, exactly, but as in, you could be at that point somewhere where you could potentially be meeting someone. Yeah. So it's.
I hear you. I hear you, babe. Unfortunately, because everything I've gone through, to me, just sounds like those fluff things.
I know.
For put eucalyptus in the shower,
especially from people who are married, it can sound like.
Just so you know, I have eucalyptus in the shower. I'm all for it.
Me too.
You just bash it kidogo and you bite, then you hang it. Smells like that for like a whole week. But it sounds like that That's bubblegum advice for maybe if you do that, you're missing out on somebody really good. And I'm just like,
Sorry.
I'm just like, this person I've been missing out on, he's fucking late. Like you're coming to somebody who has dealt with a lot. Like you're not coming to, sometimes I wish I could just go back to like 23-year-old Julia that hadn't gone through so much. Because that's the issue with dating when you're older. People just have so many traumas
so much
at this
baggage.
age, so much baggage. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
But can
I guess God's timing is the perfect.
Can I say something, Julia? And I hope I'm not like jinxing myself or anything. But you know, there are times like in my 20s, I cried paka. You know, I cried paka, my eyes puffed. Or I wasn't eating. But now if you ask me even what it was, I don't even remember. So I don't know, is it a thing of time or it's because I've just genuinely moved on? I don't know, maybe does it get to the point where that thing that makes you feel like that heartbreak, it might be killing you right now, but imagine maybe even a year from now, it won't. You maybe even won't even. No, sometimes I see my exes and I'm like, it's like I've seen a random person.
So ugly.
You get? No, nowadays I feel nothing. Like I'm just like, oh.
Not even.
Yeah. Because you're married and you're a doctor and you're married to a doctor. Let me tell you.
No.
There are things here.
I also think maybe time. Like in your 20s, that guy you cried over when you're 22.
Of course.
Do you even remember what the fight was about?
Of course. At that age. At that age, you just can't. Like now, the heartbreak does not destabilize me. Like breaking up with somebody does not destabilize me like the way it used to destabilize me before.
So there's growth.
But like I don't want to go through it anymore. I don't want to. That's why I'm like I'm not eager to meet somebody for another failed attempt. It's just like I can't handle it. I just don't have the. Nah, bruh.
Yeah, and you know the worst part about heartbreak is it's not like you can say you get better with experience.
It still hurts.
Each of them are different and they
it still
different
hurts.
and they're so fucked up. I mean, it's the other way around.
Yeah, actually that's true.
Yeah.
I think what you do learn is preventative measures to probably avoid that in terms of the lessons that Dr. Vundi was talking about earlier. So if you know that I want to get married and the first thing you're told is I'm not to do, cut that off. I've avoided a heartbreak, something like that, I guess. Yeah.
But some people are so lonely that they're like, oh, you know what? At least he can give me this, and that. And there are people who are desperate. They may not be lonely, but they're desperate because they're like, by 29, I need to have had this. So what happens? The things that usually you have eagle vision, now you're at a warning because you're like, anyway, it's okay. We've already been told not to be picky. And in the marriage, we'll work on things when we're in there. You know those things.
It's a trap.
You compromise. You compromise even your core values because you're like, you know what, we'll figure it out. At me, I cannot be 30 and I'm not married and no kids.
Julia, I think you remember that time when I was saying how we have underlying issues? Because what you're describing is somebody who is so lonely, would rather be with just anyone than be alone. You'll find this person has never really addressed their inner issues.
And even in marriages, because you see people who are beaten, and they have money, they can leave. But
there's
they
an
can't
underlying,
because they don't want to be alone.
You've never confronted yourself as a person. So I always think by the heartbreaks are a mirror. That's the one time you get to see yourself like, oh my God, this is me. It's the one time you can take the opportunity, look at yourself. Is it my daddy issues? Am I desperate, as you said?
Right.
Do I have a bad attachment style? Ask yourself those questions. You know? By the way, sexual. Some people just want to just have sex and they pick the next person who comes on by. So like, it's not an excuse to say I'm lonely, so I'm gonna get a guy. It's if you're lonely, investigate that loneliness.
And this investigation of self is something that is possible for someone to do by themselves, or
it's a good question.
Would it be something that I'd have to say look for a professional?
Look for a professional, because again, you might not have insight.
Okay.
You might be thinking I'm just lonely, but underlying or underpinning that loneliness, there's something else.
I feel like those underlying issues, sometimes even as grown-ups, it's so difficult to find them, especially if they're rooted in your childhood. You might not remember. So perhaps it's somebody who needs to bring it out of you.
As a person who's never been to therapy, how do you know a good therapist or a good psychiatrist versus a bad one? Like, you know, like maybe I could be someone who's seated somewhere seeking therapy, but the therapy is not it's not good, but for me, but to me, I'm just like, I'm at a therapist's place and they're a doctor, they should be helping me.
It's funny, we were just talking about that with Julia before we started. So first of all, the goal of therapy is not to give you answers. So if you're going for the therapist to tell you, should I break up with my boyfriend? I get a lot of that. And right off,
what do I do?
Yeah, should I leave my husband? I'm not here to give you the answer. It's more of like to get you to the point of an awakening for you to make that decision and live with it comfortably. You get. But also, a therapist should never be judgy. You should always leave there feeling like you have a bit of clarity. If you leave there feeling very confused, what are we really doing? You get. But it's a relationship. I was telling Julia, like, you know, the way you can date someone and he can be the worst guy. Then to someone else, he's like a good husband. And you're like, so that's the thing with therapists. It's a relationship. So please communicate your needs also. Just let her know, I'm not feeling like you get. Because what people do is they go, they don't feel, then they disappear. Then you go and you say that's not a good therapist, but you didn't say that. Okay, I don't like the way you do this. So,
but how can you tell a therapist that?
Imagine you need to tell them.
They won't catch. They give you bad therapy advice.
Do you know I've actually broken up with clients, but not broken up. I think that word is dramatic. But I've gotten to the point where like I'm not meeting your needs. Maybe you need to see this other person. Oh, it felt bad. I won't lie. I was like, hey, Paka, you start doubting yourself. But you're paying number one.
Okay.
You're supposed to be helping this person. It's not. Just say.
So it's a relationship, and I think with therapists and patients, it's also about compatibility.
Oh yes, Kabisa. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you might go to a therapist and you're like, last night, I never mind.
I had a very saved one who really used to talk about religion in our sessions, and I'm just like, we saw the same lady. She's there, she's telling me basically to pray away my problem, and I'm just like, means not I
envision.
That's a bad therapist.
That's
And I think now because there's a rise in mental health problems, there's also an arise in psychology. I'm saying now there's such a rise in like mental health problems. I think a lot of people now are okay, I'm a therapist.
It's like a genie.
And it's like they don't even have the experience. They don't have the experience to deal with some of these hard issues. I don't know. Anyways, but it's a relationship. All right, so I guess we can say we've come to the end of this conversation. I think at the end of the day, what Vusha said is that there's no like hard answer for these things, but what you have is those tools, those general guidelines, isn't it? And Vushi also have a clinic now, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I do. I'm going to link everything, my email, the number to my clinic, my handles for the podcast, everything. Yeah, so you can reach out if you feel like you're struggling and you need some help.
Some sort of guidance. And I think wow. I don't know.
Really?
It was a good episode. I think I need to get back into therapy. It's been a while for me. I took a bit of a break last year, but I'd like to get back into it. So I'm gonna wrap this episode up, guys. If you have any comments, questions, reactions, you have something to add to the conversation, please leave them in the comment section of this video. Remember to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and as per usual, we're gonna see you back here next time. Thank you so much, Dr. Vundi.
Thank you for having me.
You guys, if you've made it this far into the episode, shukran. If you feel like this episode will help somebody, I really urge you to share. Just click that share to somebody. All right, and I guess we'll see you guys here next time.
See you. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Deuces.
Over 25, subscribe!